Uber and Lyft drivers want more protections as rising crime keeps many of them off the roads. Hey everyone, my name is Chris and welcome to the Rideshare Guy. And today we're going to go over and react to an article that just came out from the Wall Street Journal. A link will be in the description below, so if you want to check it out, you can. So we're going to go over it, we're going to break it down, give you some reaction to it, and also we're going to see what other drivers are saying about this as well. So we will go on and pull a couple of highlights from the article itself, but the overall talks about a couple of different cases that drivers had issues with riders, whether it is an assault or a carjacking or anything like that. And also it talks about how Uber and Lyft think that they're making changes when it comes to helping to protect drivers. But what are drivers really asking for? And what could they do to actually make it more safe for drivers? And before we get going, I want to hear what you have to say. So make sure you comment below and let everybody know. Now, going to the article, it does talk about how some offenses are up year over year when it comes down to the statistical data. And they're talking about one big thing that caught my eye, how it says in Minneapolis, 494 carjackings were reported through November 11th, up 279% from those reported throughout 2019. And rideshare drivers account for 11%. So that means approximately 50 carjackings in Minneapolis were rideshare drivers. Now in Chicago, a police spokesman said that carjackings through November 10th were up 36% compared to the same period last year. And also in Oakland, California, official data shows carjackings through November 7th were up 85% compared with the same period last year and 144% compared from 2019. Also in the article, it references how Uber and Lyft have put safety tools into play when it comes to at driver and rider's disposal, like the safety toolkit and being able to dial 911 in the event of emergency by just clicking a couple buttons. Now, Uber and Lyft did close a huge gap when it came to driver safety and when it came to riders not being accountable because they couldn't find who they were. Untraceable payment methods like gift cards. If you're a passenger and you're trying to pay that way without a credit card on file, you have to upload some sort of ID. Now, if you have some sort of credit card on file, you won't have to upload ID, but you still will be traceable because with that credit card information. Another feature that is being rolled out right now when it comes to Uber is audio recording of the ride. This is a feature that will be both for drivers and riders, and they can choose if they want to record the ride or not. And in the event that there's a problem, they can upload it directly to Uber and they will be able to have that problem looked at. Now, other companies are also doing different things when it comes to trying to help keep their drivers, their food delivery drivers, their couriers also safe. So Instacart said it started an in-app alert to its grocery pickers about crime and safety incidents near the locations. Doordash also launched an emergency hotline for its drivers. Now, even with these safety measures, drivers are saying this isn't enough. There's more things that can be done. Why are drivers being put through so many different checks and balances, like background checks, uploading pictures, re-uploading pictures to make sure it's the correct driver, and a number of other things? And the only thing that they really did change or implement that passengers had to do was that they had to upload an ID in order to pay for a ride if they're not using a credit card, like a gift card. So what do drivers want as safety measures according to drivers? Well, according to the article, it says drivers say they want Uber, Lyft, and others to strengthen safeguards for drivers so they are at par with measures available to riders. Drivers usually go through background checks, including getting screened for criminal history when they sign up. They are often required to take selfies on the job to prove that they are the ones driving. Passengers, on the other hand, can create accounts using false names since the apps don't require them to disclose their identities. Unlike drivers, they aren't required to upload photos, which makes it easier for wrongdoers to pose as passengers or misuse existing accounts. Customer background checks are used in other industries. Home sharing giant Airbnb requires U.S. travelers to upload IDs and checks their information against criminal databases and sex offender registers. Independent Drivers Guild Mr. Sanchez, a former rideshare driver who stopped driving because of health concerns and crime, says his organization wants riders uploading periodic selfies, as drivers do, so companies know their accounts aren't being misused. Now, another driver who is not driving anymore because he was assaulted and refuses to drive because of that, he said he wants passengers' ages to be verified and their pictures visible on the app so drivers know who to unlock the cars for. Now, those are a few of the extra added safety measures that drivers want Uber and Lyft and these other companies to partake in, so it's a little bit more at par when it comes to drivers and riders who are using the platforms. And also, according to the article, drivers are doing certain things for themselves to make themselves feel safer. And they say that drivers are doing what they can to protect themselves. Some will only work during the daytime or pick up passengers from the airport. Others have taken to wearing bulletproof vests. That's according to the article. There are definitely other things that drivers are doing when it comes to trying to make themselves feel protected and have some sort of protection with them. And I also want to know, what are some safety measures that you might be doing in the event that you feel unsafe? Comment below. All right, so that is pretty much the article in a nutshell. Like I said, if you want to read this article, link's going to be in the description below. You can go check that out and read it in full. So now let's react to the article. So first off, yes, there are less drivers on the road. There are more drivers who are taking longer to come back, if they're going to come back at all, from the pandemic to now. And that could be a number of different reasons, including safety. In fact, a lot of drivers have stopped driving due to certain safety measures. Now, when it comes to driver safety versus rider safety, it's extremely lopsided and favorable of riders. They should have something a little bit more at par, especially if they have the systems in place. Now, they say that it's going to be very costly to do something like this and to be able to check its riders, but in actuality, other places are already doing it. So is it really going to be that much harder, or is it just something that they don't want to do? Now, some of these safety measures that Uber and Lyft have implemented or are rolling out currently or into the near future doesn't always help with some of the issues that drivers are facing, like carjackings or something that's immediate in the moment. And something like that is much harder to protect against because, well, they're an app and they don't necessarily know. But the whole thing is they can put things in place to be able to help prevent that or at least minimize that. And again, this is something where all riders have to upload IDs or have some sort of information that is checked and verified like drivers do. Same thing with uploading a picture. There's nothing wrong with uploading a picture and then having it on file. And if you want to implement something where they have to take pictures to make sure it's them, well, that can happen. But if you're going to order a ride for another person, they have to be verified on the account and in place some sort of PIN number so that the person who is actually getting into the car knows that PIN code. You have that PIN code as a driver, and that's when the ride can begin. Also, when I say PIN code, that should be for all rides. Every single rider should have some sort of PIN code that they have to verify with their driver before the ride can begin. Uber has this safety measure already in place, but it is up to the rider to implement that, not having it just blanketed across all rides. Something like that, very simple, very easy to do, and it would make things much safer. Now, there are a number of different things that both Uber, Lyft, and these other platform companies could potentially do in order to make these platforms safer for everybody who uses them. Now, there are a lot of things that you can do. I'm going to tell you a couple of things that you can do as a driver to be safer on the road. If you're out driving and it's at night, make sure when you pull over to the side of the road, either to pick up a passenger or to wait for your next ping request to come in, make sure it's in a well-lit area and you have enough room in front of you or behind you in order that if you have to make a quick getaway, you can. Keep your doors locked. And also, when you see somebody coming to your car, roll down your window a little bit and verify who they are. If they're your correct passenger, at that point, make sure they get in. But if you notice anything that shouldn't be happening, like trying to get more people in than what's allowed, or unaccompanied minors, or anything like that, you can verify everything with the doors locked, and you're going to be much safer because nobody's in your car. Two big things that you can get is, first, get a dash camera. That will be recording everything. A dual dash camera is great for forward facing and rear facing. There's 3-channel dash cameras on the market. And if you're looking for one right now that's going to upload directly to the cloud, DisplayRide is a great option. Check the link in the description below for displayride.com and see for yourself. And then in addition to having a dash camera, make sure you have a GPS location in your vehicle. So in the event something happens, you'll be able to locate it anywhere, anytime. Those are a couple of tips. And if you have any other tips, make sure you let us know, comment below. And with that being said, I know most rides though will go off without any sort of problem whatsoever. In fact, it's like 99% of all rides on all platforms go off without any issues. And also for the times though that it could potentially be a problem, you always want to make sure that you have your practices in place, your safeguards in place, whatever you have to do to make sure you feel and are safe. And if you haven't commented already, make sure you do with what you think Uber and Lyft could potentially do to make it safer for drivers on the platform. And also make sure you share what you're doing on your own to make sure you're safe. All right, everyone, drive safe.